Welcome back. Exciting stuff at the Hobby Expo China. I got a shout out and of course the hot list. Welcome back. If you're new to the channel, welcome. This channel is specifically about model cars. More of the 18th scale than anything else, but sometimes we do talk about the half scale, 64 and 4.3. We focus mostly on sports cars, exotic cars, supercars, and race cars. And with that, let's get started. So as I mentioned, the Hobby Expo China for 2025 is out this year, and man, it did not disappoint. I did not obviously go to China and see the show, but there is plenty of media out there and we're going to cover some of that. Before we do that, let's just talk about some upcoming models that will be showing up in your stores very soon. We're going to begin with, I'm going to call it the Almost Real BBR collaboration. Now this is more so a almost real product, but BBR offers it because they're opening models, because that's what this is. We're talking about the Paganis, of course. Their metal die-cast opening models are made from the same factory as Almost Real. So they do this team up when it comes to these opening models. So the first one was actually a big surprise to me, and that is that they're going to be making the Dynastia. Now, of course, the Dynastia is already out and it's the purple color. What I did not expect is that they're actually going to be making the blue. And the blue was actually made by King Phi many years ago, and it was in a half scale, and man, that model is beautiful. But I'm really glad to see that this one is going to be available as well. So as I look down here, I'm going to go ahead and get this opened for you, and there you are. This is the Dynastia in blue. This is a full opening diecast. Now these photos do not do this model justice, because this blue is actually a deep glossy blue, so it definitely has some depth there because it is a exposed carbon fiber that's been painted. So yeah, this one will definitely be a hot seller. I do like the color combination. Now personally, I do like the purple Dynastia better. It's just, I don't know, it's just my personal preference, but this one should sell well too. Next, we have the tricolor. Now the tricolor, we've seen plenty of previews of it before, but this is the actual finished prototype. And so what you see here is this one's also in a gloss blue as well. And this blue looks very similar to the blue on the Revolution. And this is a very popular, high demand model, and yes, it definitely should sell well. Now keep in mind the differences between this particular version from Almost Real Plus versus like the BBR. The only biggest differences is that the BBR comes in a much more special packaging, and it also, you can have the option of actually getting it on a stitched base, whereas the Almost Real, you get the car cover, you do not get a stitched base. That's really the biggest difference in the two. Next is the Hobby Expo China. Now there's two companies that we're focusing on. One is Motorhelix and the other is LCD. And I'm focusing on those two because, well, that's the most relevant to this channel, and personally, from what I've seen and read, they had the coolest stuff there. So let's go ahead and start with Motorhelix. And here we are. Now something I just want to point out here is that I like this display, and it makes me appreciate Motorhelix so much in that you can see that their opening models have a ton of parts and pieces, and I just find that very impressive because they put together such a great model, and it just goes to show how much details involved in a model. This is a lot of parts for one car. So again, you know, wow, shout out to Motorhelix for their great product. Now, if you are a fan of Motorhelix and you've been collecting their cars for a while, then you're probably aware of the um, engines that they offer. So for all of, not all of them, but a lot of their JDM cars and a few European cars as well, they offer the engines. Now, it used to be that a lot of these cars, like your Skylines, for example, and you saw that in earlier photos, and a lot of their Hondas, they were packaged with the motor. Just a heads up, going forward, you're probably not going to see that as often. Some of the feedback from some of the fans were that they didn't like that they packaged the motor together because of the cost. So they wanted a cheaper model because they didn't want the separate engine. They also, some people didn't want the separate engine because, well, the engine's in the car, so why do I need a display? I'm not, I actually like the complementary engine that comes with it, but I get it. It definitely dropped the price down a little bit by the Motorhelix. I think the biggest slap in the face would have been as if they didn't include the engine anymore and the price was still as high. But believe me, they're still making out like bandits because they're selling these engines that probably cost them almost nothing to make them. But I do like that they are available. The other thing I just want to point out is that this individual who's doing this videos, if you look at the full length of these videos, he is definitely more of a fan of the 6.4 and 4.3 cars, so you will see a lot of those throughout this, but he definitely does show some of the 18 scale. Not only do they have the is it the FL8 Honda, but they also have the race car, which, oh my goodness, when's the last time you've seen a full opening race car? I could even tell you the last time. You know, that was something that AutoArt used to do, and I'm so glad to see it in this Honda. I think that would be a very hot, good seller. Did you catch that? You have the J's Racing S2000. If you're a fan of tuner cars, then you know exactly what that is. And my favorite one that I used to see in magazines and is it ignition videos all the time was this one right here. It's black and white. And man, if I had unlimited budget, I would definitely be getting this. I've always been a big fan of that particular car. More of that Nilo. Anyone who's grown up with tuner cars in the 2000s knows this car very well in this paint scheme. And again, this is another Jay's Racing. This thing was in magazines and ignition videos, if you know what those are, for years. So I definitely think, especially for those who are in the JDM, this is definitely a must-have. And yeah, once it's out of production, this thing will blast into value. A full opening Jay's Racing where all of the previous ones were resin. Oh my goodness, yes, this is going to sell extremely well. So that was Motorhelix. Next, you have LCD. And guys, I couldn't tell you how impressive LCD was. I mean, just look. Of course, this is all their hybrids in different colors that are coming out. Revueltos. Revueltos, rather. STO. Murcielago. Now, this here, this is the Utopia, and obviously it's a Pagani, and yes, this is going to be from LCD. And guys, this thing looks fantastic. Now, I've been holding my tongue for the longest time on this. I'm just going to say it. I'm not a fan of the Utopia. I'm just not. Sorry. It looks weird to me. This shocked me, which goes to what I'm probably going to have my little comments about at the end of this, or my summary. In that LCD is just they're just going in all directions, and it's such a fantastic thing. They're making a Porsche race car, a Le Mans race car, and it's opening. It's an opening race car. Keep that in mind. And there you are. These are the new cars that are going to be eventually put out probably in the later part of this year or next year, so 2026. And I couldn't be more than happier. Some of the things that definitely stood out was that Revuelto, which is very beautiful. Can't wait for that. That STO, oh my goodness, man, I'm pretty sure you guys have been clamoring for that. And a Murcielago rather, man, I've been wanting one of those forever, and I was not willing to pay the auto art price. And knowing that LCD is probably going to make it better looking than the original auto art, yeah, that would definitely be one that would be on my list. I'd love to hear what you guys are excited about this coming out, and I'm very sure you can point out some of the ones that I missed. I do know that, for example, there is going to be finally the McLaren F1. They're finally going to make it in an orange color. It's actually not the papaya orange, or it's a variation of it because it has a metallic finish to it, so it's not that solid orange, but it looks great. If I find a picture, I'll pop it up for you. But yeah, that color's coming out, and yes, I'm very happy for this company. There are some other ones from this show that are on separate pages that I guys can show you as well that I was really impressed with. Let's start with, let me just go over here, and this color looks fantastic. If I was to get one, this is the color I would get it in. I really like it a lot. And of course, this is full opening. The thing that I'm really impressed with, and I'm not sure, look at that engine detail. Now, this bottle, they're actually showing a level of fluid in it. The details on these models are just getting better and better every year. But what I was gonna say is that when they do these shows, they put these models on bases. It would be really nice if they sold them on these bases. And I don't know if this is going to be something in the future that they may do, but I hope so, because man, I like when they have bases on the models. I don't like them on all models, but for very special ones, I would love that. So yeah, I would definitely like that. The other one, if there is, let's just make sure. Oh, so I alluded to how BBR, their opening models were basically made by Almost Real. The factory's called Sums Model, by the way, if you didn't know. And because of that, not only does Almost Real share the tooling for the Paganis, but Sums Model, because they make the Almost Real models, makes Ferraris. So they make the opening Ferraris for BBR. No, Almost Real does not sell them, so there's not that back and forth when it comes to Ferraris. But obviously BBR does, and you guys know that forever. There's been these rumors about this F80 coming out, and it's going to be full opening, and there were some prototypes. Well, we're getting closer and closer to the real thing. So what you can see here, yeah, this is another photo of the prototype. Now this one's a lot more extensive, which gives me really great hope in how good this model will actually be. Look at the detail. Again, keep in mind, this is a prototype. And what this suspension is telling me, and I'm hoping this is correct, is that this will be a functioning suspension. Now, don't get me wrong. If it wasn't, I'd still be happy with it. I'm not a big stickler when it comes to something like that. It is a nice feature to show off because it surprises people who wouldn't expect that the suspension was functional. I get that. But again, it would not be enough for me not to want this model. But I just like all of this structure and parts that are integrated into this model. And I like the fact that they're actually showing you all this, because I don't believe when you have the full model, when you own it, that you're going to be able to see any of this. So the fact that they're exposing this just gives you an idea of how many parts and pieces went into this model. In other words, you're getting what you paid for. Yeah, I'm very excited about this model. I think it'll be a really, really hot seller. At first, as in my previous news, I said I wasn't a fan initially of the F80, but that Chris Harris video that I showed in our last news, and just looking at this prototype here, I am a huge fan of it now. And yes, I will be getting this model. You know what would also be awesome? And they are going to do it, there's no doubt about it. It'd be awesome seeing what the other color options will be for this particular car. The fact that both of these model companies are expanding their base when it comes to what they're making says a lot about their sales. They're obviously selling a lot of these models. And this gives me hope. It gives me hope for this hobby. Not that this hobby was necessarily struggling, but the average age of the collectors in this hobby, the average age, guys, is 35. And that is a little, no, not a little, that is alarming, because we need to get some younger people involved with this. And as much as especially these young people are on YouTube, you know, with their car reviews and everything else, you would think it would translate into model cars, but I don't see that too often. I don't watch too many younger YouTube bloggers, or whatever you want to call them, influencers, when they do those car reviews. There's a lot of reasons for that. One of them is the immaturity of some of them. The lack of knowledge is another one. But they're obviously successful in doing this because they do attract a big audience. But I'm really surprised that a lot of them do not ever talk about or collect model cars. And there's a lot to be said about that, because it's a great hobby. There's a lot of money involved in it. There are investors into this stuff. I'm not necessarily you know, too hyped about that, but it's a reality of things, and it's a cool hobby. So I'm hoping, you know, channels like these, maybe if my daughters would do more of these videos instead of me, that it would attract more of the audience. But going back to my initial thought here, the idea that these companies are expanding. You have a Motorhelix that started out with mostly European cars, by the way. I don't know if you knew that. So they did a lot of Audis and Range Rovers and things like that. And now they're all over the Japanese cars. And they still have a resin line of models, and they come from all sizes. They're 6'4", 18 and half scale resin models, and these things sell, and they are beautiful. Have you ever seen that Escalade, the half scale Escalade of the Motorhelix? It's beautiful. So this is great news for those who are seeking really well done quality models, because Motorhelix does a fantastic job. So does Almost Real, and Almost Real, with all of their Paganis, they're going to expand as well. They already are prototyping a Skyline. It's an older Skyline. It's a 1970s Skyline, I believe. And that just again gives you an idea of the reach that these companies are making. And then there's LCD. And LCD to me is one of the biggest surprises, because they're making Lamborghinis. They're making all the Paganis that you can think of. They have McLarens. And now, just recently, they have the license for Koenigsegg. So, yeah, this is fantastic news for us who are into this hobby, because you have great choices from great companies. And those who absolutely detest resin, I'm not one of them, but those who absolutely detest resin, you don't have nothing to worry about. There's plenty of opening models available to you. So it's a win-win for all of us, because I collect both. And so, yeah. I just think this is a great thing. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Now we're moving on to the hot list. The hot list are models that are soon to be released, have recently released, and they have the potential to sell out quickly. We're going to start with AutoArt. Right now, AutoArt has pre-orders for the initial D Toyota Sprinter Torino. That's the AE86 final version. This is the 30th anniversary. It comes in special packaging, and it looks pretty darn good. Next, we have a model from Top Speed. It is the Porsche 911 GT F3R, the number 77 AO Racing, the 2025 IMSA Petite Le Mans. And this one was celebrating Halloween, thus the special skeletal liveries, which is shocking to me that they produced these so quick. Obviously, they wanted to make this right in time for the season, and yes, they should be out pretty soon. Going back to auto art, we have the Lamborghini Diablo GTR in Monterey Blue. I'm pointing this one out because this is an absolutely stunning color that's never been done in model form, and it definitely looks the part. This should be a great seller for auto art. Last, we have one for Norev, and it is the Porsche 911 ST. This is the Malichetti green metallic diecast, and this is in half scale. It looks fantastic. Kudos for Norev for becoming the champion when it comes to the newer Porsche models. All the model information can be found on the respective manufacturers' websites, or check your trusted local retailer. And that concludes this week's hot list. The last thing I wanted to bring up was, first of all, guys, a lot of times these videos, because I do have a full-time job and I have 3 kids and lots of bills, they put together a lot of this video content for me. And so a lot of times when I do these videos, it's really on the fly. There's no script or anything. I'm just winging it a lot of times. So if you hear mistakes, some things mispronounced, it's because I'm not cutting it and redoing it again. I'm just rolling with it because, you know, time is very precious to me. So I hope you can respect that. So the last thing that they brought to my attention was that BBR has been expanding their media reach. They now have a YouTube channel, and right now it has just under 1,000 subscribers. I'm pretty sure it'll pass mine very shortly. And well, this promotional video they said was really good. So let's take a look at it. And we're not gonna look at the entire video. They advised me just to look at the first, few minutes of it so you guys can actually get an idea of the cool things that BBR is doing. So let's take a look at it.
Do you know the difference between a BBR and other scale model cars? BBR creates authentic and meticulously faithful scale reproductions of real cars, down to the smallest details, to bring the dreams of every car enthusiast to life. Because whether or not you can collect Ferrari cars or Paganis in your garage, you can always showcase them on a shelf. In the world of collectible model cars, BBR stands for status, prestige, pride, and investment. For a true collector, owning a BBR model means showcasing excellence in their collection. For an enthusiast, it means elevating their home environment with a masterpiece on par with a painting or a sculpture. That is why BBR is in the Olympus of scale car reproductions.
Is that why you wanted me to see this? That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Okay. Is that the only reason why you wanted me to see this? That's pretty cool. Well, thank you, BBR. I know this dude too. I'm pretty sure some of you guys know this guy. That's pretty cool. I appreciate your time. I'll see you next time.